The breaking news this hour, Israel reeling tonight from a massive attack by the terror group Hamas. Joining us now, a key Democrat on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Congressman Brad Sherman of California. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. You've been a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, for 28 years, ever since you came to Congress. What's your reaction to this unprecedented attack by Hamas against Israel?
This is Israel's 9/11. This will have to go on for some time because Israel is going to have to dismantle Hamas. They can't just absorb these casualties, and because if they do, then this will happen again 2 months from now, 4 months from now.
So what role should the U.S. have right now in dealing with all of this?
We should provide the tools and intelligence that Israel can use in the coming months, but also the diplomatic support, because there are already those who are telling Israel to stand down, to do nothing, to absorb the casualties and not respond. And in fact, Israel's going to have to respond. You can't leave this monster in Gaza any longer.
As you know, the former President Donald Trump, he issued a statement supporting Israel, but he also in that statement blamed President Biden for what's going on, calling him a weak leader. How do you respond to that?
Ridiculous, partisan, petty, and political. The fact is that under every president's watch, there has been terrorist action from Hamas. And this effort is an effort to derail what Biden is doing that's very good, which is the normalization between Israel and Saudi Arabia. So by coming close to a very important accomplishment, Hamas has gotten desperate, and they've thrown everything they can against Israel.
So that normalization of relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia, from your perspective, is on hold right now.
It is. I'm not sure this will derail it, but it's clear that that's the purpose of this. I mean, look, Hamas wants to kill as many Israeli civilians as possible every day of the week. But they took an extraordinary action now because they see the possibility of normalization and something that gets the peace process moving. And Hamas, their announced and constant refrain is that they want to expel every Israeli from the Middle East. They will not no peace until all Jews are driven out.
As you know, the House of Representatives needs a Speaker of the House in order to get things accomplished. You really can't do anything without a Speaker. How is that going to affect what's going on with Israel right now?
I don't think it'll prevent us from doing what we need to do to help Israel. I think that providing the tools is something that the president can do with monies that have already been appropriated, and that's short term. The key is what we say off the floor and on the floor in special orders, to say that we stand with Israel. And I think the vast majority of members will be saying that and making it clear that we don't just stand with Israel when it's the victim, we stand with Israel when they do the necessary retaliation.
Because we're seeing a lot of statements of support for Israel coming from Democrats like you and Republicans, conservatives and liberals. Do you see that going forward?
I think that keeps going. There may be some who take a step back when Israel does what it has to do. But Israel can't just be a victim in this case. It has to make itself safe for the future.
So you would support, if Israel launches a massive ground invasion of Gaza right now to try to end the Hamas threat, you would support that?
If that's what Israel needs to do, I would support it, and I'd understand it. Because if you don't dismantle Hamas today, they're going to be back tomorrow.
How worried are you that Hezbollah in southern Lebanon and other terror groups in the West Bank, for example, could take what's going on in Gaza and Israel and begin other strikes against Israel right now?
You've got to be concerned about that, but the vast power of the Israeli Defense Forces are the civilians that are called up. And I would expect Israel to mobilize and to have more power on their northern border 2 weeks from now than they do today.
Yeah.
So I think Israel has had to fight on several fronts at once in 67 and 73, and of course in its War of Independence.
As a longtime member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I know you're briefed by the U.S. intelligence community. What is the role of Iran in all of this?
Iran provides 70% of the financing for Hamas, 100% for its junior brother, who's also involved in these terrorist acts, Islamic Jihad. There is no way that this happened without either tacit or explicit encouragement from Iran. And that's why in the Iranian Majlis, their parliament, people are shouting death to Israel gleefully as they count up the number of women and children killed.
Congressman Brad Sherman of California, thanks so much for coming in.
Good to be with you.
Thank you.